good afternoon, good evening to all of you. You know, I'm going to say a few things that people aren't going to like, and I'm sorry. This isn't about being popular. This isn't about being popular amongst the right, the left. It's not about being popular with anybody. All right, the truth is the truth. Simple as that. Very subdued the other day when I was doing that video, and I got so many thoughts and emotions going through my mind. And I think I'm going to start with, there's been a few people out there that like to be popular, and what they'll do is try and appeal to the masses. I'm not going to name anybody, there's no point. And these people know absolutely nothing about Islam, what it means, about Sharia, about what the cornerstone of Islam is. They know nothing about the practices. And it's a shame, really, because they've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers, some of these people. Very influential, and I think that influence should be used for better means. Educate yourselves. It's as simple as that. Just educate yourselves as to what, you know, Muhammad is, the perfect man, etc., etc., what Islam is, what it means. Islam doesn't mean peace. Let's just get that out there, okay? We've had lots of imams on the TV saying Islam means peace. It doesn't. It means to submit to the will of Allah. Okay, that's the first bit out of the way. It's well known. If you don't know it, then you need to research it. Also, I just don't know where to begin, to be honest. You know, I watched that the XSAS guy that actually. Sorry, guys, I'm turning the comments off because it distracts me. I watched him, you know, on Sky News, and he's calling for the deportation or the internment of these people on a watch list. And, you know, and what a great way to sum it up, really, that our children, you know, this was children. Now, we can sit here and argue the toss on our foreign policy, all right, and our foreign policy at the moment. I don't agree with it. The British people probably don't agree with it. In fact, I'd say a good 99% of the people don't agree with it. I don't agree with it because it's not our argument over there. You've got Sunni and Shia and all sorts of different folds of Islam all fighting between themselves. And it's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. If they want to kill each other over there, over an imaginary friend, let them crack on. Nothing to do with us. This is all stemmed from 9/11. This is what we're dealing with. You know, you must see that. It stemmed from 9/11 and the fact it was a retaliatory attack over the trade centres. So we've been fucking flies. We've been dealing with this rhetoric that our soldiers. You know, I talk to plenty of our armed forces. I really do, and I know quite a lot of people in the armed forces, and they've told me, you know. For no want of a better terminology again, that this just couldn't be any further from the truth. You know, we're not raping and pillaging and killing their children. You know, this is not happening. It's the propaganda coming out. We're going to talk a little bit about the radicalisation process in a minute, but that's solely where it starts. Okay, the fact that all this news that comes out of the Middle East. And the fact that it's our British soldiers. How do you feel about that, by the way? You know, the British Armed Forces, you're being accused of raping and killing their children. You know, bombs can now, with the technology that's available to us, you know, can drop a bomb and it'll land on a 50p piece in the middle of nowhere. Like I say, I don't agree with our foreign policy. I think we should have our armed forces for defensive purposes only. You know, if there's a tsunami or, you know, a hurricane and people need help, there's a humanitarian aid effort going on, then we send our troops over to help. We should not be getting involved in other people's practices. And this just gives rise to the propaganda from Islam, from the IS, Daesh, Boko Haram, all these other groups, Al-Muhajirin, and, you know, all these other people there, to actually tell the people in this country, you must rise up, my brothers and sisters. You know, because our foreign policy is such that we're raping and killing and pillaging our way through the Middle East. And it isn't true, all right? It just isn't true. So we end up with you know, the radicalisation process, and let's just have a little look at that for the moment. Now, for someone to tell me something is true and correct, I want to see proof of that, okay? I want to see proof that that is absolutely correct, and I'm believing in something because I've seen the proof of it. And in comes the Quran and the Hadiths and the Surah, because these people live by that trilogy of books, okay? Now, I take a moderate Muslim at the moment as just reading the Quran, probably never read the Hadiths or Surah, or maybe they're born into this, who knows. But the radicalisation process can't happen if you've got no scriptures to go back to, okay? And the scriptures in the trilogy of books are there. And when someone says Allah has prescribed this for you, yeah, but Allah's, you know, Islam's supposed to mean peace. Islam's supposed to mean something completely different. You know, they go back to the scriptures in the book. It's all there in black and white. What more do you need to understand? So, you know, someone can tell me that the sky is actually green and the grass is blue. But until I get proof of it, I'm seeing it as the sky is blue and the grass is green. If you pointed back to a certain time where maybe our colour blindness changed or our colour scheme changed, I'm not going to believe a word of it. But these people have something there, and it's called the scriptures in the book. And it was written, you know, by Ali. It was written by Muhammad. It was written by all of these people. And what we find is most of the time is that these people will say, if you take one innocent life, I missed this one the other night on RT News, by the way. You know, if you take one innocent life, then you've taken, you know, all of mankind. It's a load of rubbish, because in the middle of it actually says, you know, unless these people are spreading propaganda or spreading something across the country, I can't remember the actual terminology, but they missed that part out quite conveniently. So radicalisation, really, for want of a better terminology, I suppose, you know, I don't believe it's radical. I don't believe it's radical in their beliefs at all. In fact, I believe the complete opposite. I believe that Islam in the Middle East is Islam. I believe that the westernised version of Islam doesn't fit in with the narrative of the Eastern version of Islam, in which case the Westerners have hijacked Islam and made it into something socially acceptable as an ideology masquerading as a religion. That's what they've done. All right? It's not been hijacked the other way. Islam, throughout the hundreds of years since its inception, has always done the same thing: maimed, tortured, killed. You know, we can talk about the Talmud, we can talk about our own Bible. You know, we've all sort of we've evolved as the times have evolved. You know, we've only got to look back to the Middle East in the 70s and 80s, when, you know, the women on the beach wearing bikinis. You know what happened? Islam happened. It's a regime. It's a cult. And I think that what we're dealing with at the moment is something unprecedented in the West. And I think I would like to say to you, actually, that I believe it to be a complete opposite. I think, actually, that where these mosques and these guys say, you know, it had nothing to do with us. There was a guy out yesterday, the Manchester Islamic Centre, saying this guy never ever had anything to do with us, when it's actually been proven now again that he actually prayed at that mosque. You know, so again, we've been lied to. You know, this is what these people do. They can use Taqiyya and Kitman against us. They can use that to further their cause. And all of these Muslim Council of Britain and all these other people there that you know, I mean, the woman I debated the other night, not very well, I must admit, but I got my point across. You know, she's being paid taxpayers' money, funded money, on this de-radicalisation process, and talks about all of these other things, and won't ever stipulate that it's the Quran, the Hadith, the Surah, that they all go back to for proof of what these people are talking about. To be a good Muslim, you must believe in the scriptures. Whether they're good or they're bad, you must live by that book. You know, and I'm seeing something completely different. And what I'm seeing at the moment, it's only my thoughts, all right? And they've got their own belief system there, masquerading as a religion. So I can have my own belief system. And if anyone's offended, I must have the right to offend you, or you couldn't be offended. So let's not even go there. I believe at the moment that the mosques are a breeding ground. I believe that the families of Orthodox Muslims, you might call them radical, I will call them Orthodox Muslims. These people know exactly what's going on in their communities, all right? And I think at the moment, to further the cause of Islam, if one life is martyred, you know, we've got martyrdom, one life is taken from the Muslim community with lots of ours, then they can then, you know, we've seen the evidence of it, they can then come out and condemn the act of hate speech. They can condemn everybody that speaks out against it with, you know, some form of Islamophobia. That word made up by the Muslim Council of Britain, by the way, to stop the persecution. Not even the persecution, really. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, I mean, this just goes on and on and on, and I can't solely believe, actually, that these people don't know what's going on in their own communities. You know, we've how many? You know, when we go back to the two girls that left for Syria, it was, you know, the group that we were involved with at the time actually found them people, them two girls, on a march with Anjem Choudary with their father. Okay, now some people won't believe in that side of it. You know, let's look at Anthony Smalls, the old fucking idiot boxer there, obviously punch drunk to the point where he succumbed to Islam. Then there was a programme on the TV, and they all, you know, 10 Muslims in a house. Now, with all those differences of opinion, all those differences of what it should be, let's not, you know, you can't talk to a woman, you know, you cover yourselves up, all this from Anthony Smalls to everyone else saying, well, I'm gay and I'm Muslim. Well, that's all very well and good in the West. Try doing that in the Middle East. Be a gay and Islamic or a Muslim in the Middle East. So what I'm seeing is the fact that, you know, we've tried, and our government have probably tried to integrate, you know, assimilate these people. You're not going to do that while they're in secular ghettos and put them all together, because people, and certain people, you know, although they probably want to escape the barbarity of it, because they know what it is, then, you know, you're not giving them a chance to. You're just not getting them a chance, because you're putting them straight back into the pot, and the punishment for apostasy is death. What other religion says that? It's not a religion, but they masquerade as a religion, so I'll use that terminology for the moment. So, and then we go on to, you know, why do these people build bombs? Why do they go against what they should be doing? You know, blah, blah. So let's talk about the books now. The books are inherently racist. The books are inherently fascist. All right? They subjugate women. The Jews, the Kafar, the infidel. Very, very racist. You know, and no one's, although other people have, obviously, no one's really saying that on the news. No one gets a chance to, because of the Islamophobic backlash that could ensue. And I'm finding it really, really difficult to deal with, to be quite honest. I mean, you know, when Phil Campion there turned around and said, listen, you've crossed a line. You have crossed a line. That was our children. You fucking bastards. How dare you? That was our children, right? What you've got to see again is that, you know, it's almost like a tit for tat, because they believe, over the propaganda coming out through their own news agencies, over the internet, through IS, Daesh, whatever you want to call these people, Boko Haram. It doesn't matter, they kidnap girls and, you know, chop off Christians' heads, and, you know, they've got the right idea. They've got the easternised idea of what Islam is, and I think in our country at the moment it's the westernised idea. I think they're getting pretty pissed off with the fact that it's been watered down to a point, and it's not what Allah wants, it's not what Muhammad wanted. So to go on from that again, you know, I suppose again what you must see is that although it has been watered down, all right, there are some slipping through the net that are being radicalised online. They're being radicalised by their families. We've seen plenty of evidence of that, where the families are actually involved in the radicalisation process. The mosques that they go to actually promote this. Now, we don't regulate the mosques. The mosques are not cameraed. You can't search a mosque without 24 hours notice. You can't take a dog into the mosque, you know, a sniffer dog into the mosque. They've got it pretty much sewn up over our own lunatic laws and things in place to protect these religions. And that, again, fucking bothers me. You know, with the internet being what it is, I mean, you know, this is spreading at a fast rate of knots. And it's spreading because of the internet. All right. Now we can talk about people sitting in their front rooms or in their bedrooms and they're watching videos from IS. So I watched one about a week ago. Absolutely horrendous. That does not make me want to kill anybody. It made me feel physically sick. And it was the one where they dropped a rock on the guy's head, and I've just never seen so much blood. It is absolutely infuriating that over an imaginary friend in the sky, these people would actually choose to do that. So the indoctrination is probably through their parents. You know, the fact that they're Orthodox Muslims. We don't know what goes on in the mosques. It's not regulated. We can't camera the mosques, apparently, although we could. You know, a law can be introduced. Look what happened in Rotherham when the taxi drivers when they said, look, for our people's protection or for anyone's protection, we're going to camera up your cabs. What did they do? They went absolutely mental. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. And to this point, I do believe they've not actually cameraed up their cabs. I could be wrong. I've not seen anything about it, to be honest. If I am wrong, so what? I can't be right all the time. So what we're dealing with in actual fact is the fact that we could tell these people what we're going to do in actual fact is camera up your mosque. We're going to have a person that speaks fucking Arabic or whatever goes on, law of the speech of the land. What we're going to do is have someone sitting there all day when you're in there, and we're going to monitor what you're saying. That would go a long, long way to stopping what these people are doing at the moment. That's what I believe, solely and unconditionally. Because if you can remove that from people's houses, which you can't, because in the privacy of your own home you can do what you want, you should be able to remove that from where they pray, from where they go and worship. And if you can do that, right, and have someone sitting there, we can't have a Muslim interpreting saying, well, it's all right, he's just talking about rainbows and unicorns at the moment. Well, he's actually not. You don't know what these imams from the Middle East are saying to the people in the mosques. And let's not say that every Friday or whenever they go in, it's all the fucking hundreds and hundreds of people that enter the mosque, or the thousands of people that enter the mosque. But there's probably some certain rooms there you can go into, I would say, to see the real Islam. That's what I would say to you. And you can't tell me there isn't, because nobody knows. And you can't be told by a Muslim, because you can't trust a Muslim, because they practice taqiyya, the art of lying, to further the cause of Islam and to lie to the unbeliever. We are the unbelievers, we are the kuffar. Hence the reason the book is racist, because anyone that isn't Islamic is a kuffar. Like Mein Kampf was banned, I think the Quran, the Hadith and the Surah, unless in a country where it supports those sort of scriptures, should be banned. There's been lots of evidence at the moment from, using your phone, your text message. There's been a couple of accidents where people have lost their lives. They've banned you from texting on a phone. Pit bulls were banned, but it was the owners, obviously. We've had other dogs kill people, haven't banned that breed. There's been lots and lots, cigarettes in front of your children and all of this other stuff that they've done. They've actually instigated some sort of act or statute to stop these things happening. And let me just talk to you quickly. I don't condone it in any way whatsoever, but if you had a couple of pints, you're driving down the road and you get pulled over, what crime have you actually committed? You've created no crime. You've committed no crime. No loss, no harm, no injury. What they're doing in actual fact is arresting you on the fact that you might actually commit a crime later on. So what's the difference between that and a terrorist on a watch list, please? What is the difference between that and the terrorist on the watch list that hasn't actually committed a crime yet? Well, it's funny because our acts and statutes stipulate that we can be arrested and taken away and fined and put in front of the courts for something that hasn't happened yet, because no crime, no loss, no harm, no injury has actually been created. They can in the European courts here, they can stipulate in actual fact that the Cody boxes, you can get up to 10 years in prison for downloading copyrighted material. They put a law into place for that, but they won't put a law into place to be able to deport these people. And all the while that's going on, we are at risk. Now, if we're at risk, then I would say we have the right to defend ourselves. We have the right to bear arms, because the government have now had to call in the army. You won't be able to go and buy a gun, obviously, because you need licensing, but we're trying to work on something on that to actually reinstate something from our Bill of Rights and our Constitution that's been taken away by acts and statutes. They've actually tried to license our rights as people in this country. Well, that's what they've tried to do. So, lots of reasons for radicalisation. Are they disenfranchised? Not really. If they were born here, then they're not disenfranchised at all. The schools are full of Muslims. Every town is full of Muslims. How can they be disenfranchised from British society? Please tell me that. It's down to the families that haven't integrated and assimilated properly, I would say, as to the point where these children go off looking for something else and start reading all this news and propaganda coming out of the Middle East that we're bombing and killing and doing all this silly stuff, that I completely don't agree with. I know this. I've talked to our armed forces. I talked to many within our armed forces, all right? And they're all saying the same thing. We're all saying the same thing. Katie Hopkins got arrested for saying that the other day. And let's not forget, we're talking about terrorists. We're talking about Muslims, we're not talking about Islam, we're talking about these people on a watch list. They are terrorists. And now apparently you can't speak out against a terrorist. This is how well protected the Islamic community are, whether you're a terrorist or a moderate. Nobody can say anything. And I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. We have the right to criticise anything. And especially something that's masquerading as a religion. It's not a religion. Listen to the imams. Open your eyes, do your own research. And like I say, these people out there with hundreds of thousands of followers that are putting out, oh, it's not all Muslims, you're all fucking brain dead, you're all knuckle draggers and bigots and this, that and the other. You know, you don't know the first thing about Islam. You're just trying to be popular. Let's not do that. Let's talk about the truth for a change. You know, because the truth is something you can't hide and shouldn't be hidden from absolutely anybody. The media do it all day long. They've got the arsehole at the moment. Our security service have got the arsehole with America because they leaked out facts. They've not got the arsehole. They've got the arsehole with it because they looked foolish. Because they couldn't give us the facts when we wanted them. How's it going to hamper an investigation? Really? Terrible situation we're in this country at the moment. Absolutely terrible. And what we've done is now bought our arms. Listen, you know, how many times have you heard in certain areas that they've told people in our armed forces, do not wear your uniforms, you will be a target? How many times has this happened? How many other prime ministers have said that to us? And what you've done there is put the army on the streets to become a target. And these people will be driving cars and vans and lorries all packed full of whatever they've got if they're going to do this, and our soldiers will now will bear the brunt of the threat that we face, because they're on the and let's face it, over our foreign policy, the last thing you want to do is put our soldiers on the streets. Is that not right? Because they don't like our soldiers, because apparently we're raping and killing and fucking raping their children and raping their women and bombarding them with bombs and killing all their fucking people. You see? It's an easy solution. An easy solution. If you've got that little bit of black cloth tied to the back of your car like we saw a couple of years ago, right, for the support of ISIS, you're gone. Whether it be internment, whether it be prison, whether it be back to your own country, you are gone. If you have got any radicalised or radical material on your phone, your internet, whatever go, you're out. You're gone, you're finished, you're out. The risk is too great to the general public, and we can't put all of our safety concerns, should we say, in the hands of the government, because it's already been proven that the government cannot protect us. We go back to the 22 that died. Fucking children. Still got people in hospital critically ill. I tried to say on RT News the other night, you know, Ariana Grande there has got certain beliefs. She wouldn't have it. Well, go and find some videos in the Middle East and see what they do to Christians. See what they do to gays and homosexuals. They hang them from cranes. They throw them off of buildings. This is no lie. You're allowing these people into our countries to cause fucking mayhem. Is that something that so what? All right then. So we can look at it a different way. And certain people have said it. Obviously, that what they're actually trying to do is instill some sort of martial fucking law. That's what they're trying to do, and they've just done it. They've allowed these people in because I'll tell you for why. The technology has become so great and so easy to use, and the ease of finding information is so great that the governments in these countries are now worried about the people rising up and going, listen, we've had enough of you cunts, and we're going to do something about it. They've now got the army on the streets. What hope have we got? What hope have we got of going against these tyrannical governments at the moment? None at all. Anyway, you know what, I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I've got so much going through my mind. You know, it's not until I come outside it to have a cigarette, of which I'm going to have one now, actually. I've probably got more chance of dying through a terrorist act than through fucking cigarettes, to be honest. But I'm going to have one because, you know, I come out here and I have a little think, and I go back into my little fucking studio there. It's not a studio, it's a room with a bit of equipment in it, right? And my mind goes blank. I see all of these posts and everyone's posts, you know, I'll get messages from all these people and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And to try and write something now, my mind just fucking runs away, and before you know it, it's very, very incoherent. You know, it doesn't make any sense. Because there's just too much in here. I've got no doubt whatsoever that there are moderate, peaceful Muslims, and these people have probably never been into mosques. You know, they've never seen, you know, in their own communities, you know, a Quran or anything. You know, that they just believe themselves to be born a Muslim. Like I'm born a Christian, don't go to church, don't believe in God, but I'm still born a Christian. I still live in a Christian country. I abide by the Christian laws. There's a lot of people out there that do the same thing about being a Muslim. You know, and they do. We can't take that away from them. You know, but when it comes down to the point where these things, you know, 3,000 or 3,500 on their security watch list, and apparently these people can just run amok and do what they want to do because we can't do anything. Yeah, Leafy Rose is stuck already, look. Say hello.
But it's got me.
That made no sense whatsoever, but thank you very much. You know, listen, we've got moderates. Come on out, Donny. Yeah, come in there. Go and see Nanny. Go and see Nanny. You know, we've got moderates that say it's not in our name, it's been hijacked. Well, I actually think that the westernised idea of Islam has actually hijacked Islam. It's watered it down to a point, and no one's happy with it. No one's happy with it because it's not what Islam should be, and that's where I think lies the problem. You know, we've got people reading the books and saying, well, this isn't right, we shouldn't have gays, you know, women should be covered up, etc., etc. You know, the punishment for rape is that the woman gets stoned unless she's got 4 male witnesses to the rape. You know, hence the reason these people are raping our children. You know, they rape our children. That's it. That's fact. I tried to say it again on RT News the other night. 95 to 98% of all the gangs, this, that and the other. There are other things I could have said. Try sitting there with an earpiece in after getting called at 7:30 to leave my place to get there for 9. There's a quick shower, boom, in, out. I didn't even have time to have a shave. You know, and you got these people in your ear, and there was this guy going, you can interject at any time, you can interject at any time, you know, trying to stir the pot. And I'm debating a woman, I don't want to come across rude and angry and horrible, you know, I just want to get my point across. And she wouldn't take it that the Hadith, the Quran and the Surah are the ones that are telling these people what to do. It's an instruction manual, it's an instruction booklet. And if they didn't exist, and the scriptures didn't exist, what could ISIS do to make anyone believe that they should act in a certain way? What would ISIS or Daesh or whatever you want to call these people actually be able to do to prove that this is what Muhammad and Allah prescribed for you? It's in those books. It's as simple as that. You know, mob rule. They're scared of mob rule, people. They're scared of mob rule. They're scared of mob rule. And they're scared of mob rule because they don't know what to do. You know, listen, after debating that woman the other night again, you know, you can't just round up 3,000 people. No, and I know why as well, because they're actually supported by their neighbourhoods. They're supported by most of their neighbourhoods. And if you deported 3,000 terrorists, not Muslims, terrorists, the rest of the communities will be up in fucking uproar is what would go, and that's why they won't do it. It's as simple as that. All right, you know, we wonder why they won't go to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia won't let them in because they are the biggest kafirs on the planet. They don't hold Islam in high regard, although they tend to practice it. They drink, they go out clubbing, they fornicate, they drive big, rich, flash cars. They do all of this business, and they won't want to let the other people in because what they'll do in actual fact is overthrow these people, take their riches and use it for Islam. That's what they'll do. That's why they won't let the people in. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And in a Christian country, you know, born of Christian values, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, Constitution, etc., etc., we are being led down a garden path by our governments to say you can't say anything. Let's look at what goes on. We've had people actually been arrested for putting a bit of bacon on a mosque door handle. Hate crime. Hate crime. No, not really. But they can burn our poppies, they can rape our children, they can get let off of raping someone because apparently on the beach they weren't used to seeing people in bikinis. Well, I'm sorry then, but these cultures are incompatible with our own. We are quite tribal in our beliefs, and I think everyone is to a certain point, apart from the left, obviously not tribal at all. And they won't see it for what it is. You know, I bet none of them have picked up a Quran. None of them picked up the Hadiths or read the Hadiths and the Surah. You know, I've not read all of them, don't get me wrong, but I know what I've needed to see. It's told me what I need to see, you know, and I've seen what goes on in the Middle East. I've seen what goes on in Europe. I've seen what these people are about. It's about domination. It actually says in the Quran that, you know, was it the fitna or whatever it is, you know, everyone must do da'wah, you know, preach to the unconverted and fucking, it's crazy. What a crazy book. What a crazy book. And it's legal to buy in this country. It's legal. What I might do next time, if I ever get back onto RT, I doubt whether I will, but if I ever get back on there, I will take the Quran with me, and I'll have little post-it notes stuck in every page on different verses. And when they start giving stuff to me and saying false sayings from the Quran, I'll be able to fill them in. Because at the moment, we're all being lied to, each and every one of us. And you've only got to go, you know, it's funny because if you want to call us the right, then that's fine, because we are right. It's as simple as that. We are right. And we're the ones that have done the research. We're the ones that watch this every day. We're the ones that have been indoctrinated, for want of a better word, into what they do. All right? And I'm not running around chopping people's heads off. I'm not running around with bombs I'm not running around trying to kill Muslims like they're trying to kill us, but yet I'm the one that's persecuted because I speak out. Other people are persecuted because they speak out against this fucking barbaric, backward, raping, pillaging, goat herding cult. You know, and I can't abide by that. And I think that something needs to be done. And you know, like I said earlier, if we can make laws to circumvent certain things, but we can't do anything about this. That so-called religion, that ideology masquerading as a religion, can't actually coexist in a Christian country. It can't, because you'll end up being wiped out, because the Christians are the kuffar. All right, you pay the jizya, you convert to Islam, or you die. It's in the Quran. It's just, please, people, you've got to go and see it for what it is, and don't take my word for it. You know, please don't. I've seen what I've seen. I know what goes on, and there's certain scriptures in that book that are very peaceful. Yeah, lovely, brilliant. It's funny that they're not abiding by those peaceful scriptures. What they're doing in actual fact is going back to day dot when the inception of Islam was created, and they're actually going out there and doing what the book commands them to do. You know, music is haram. Halal is permissible within Islam. Haram is not. Music's haram. Being gay is haram. You know, eating non-halal food is haram. You know, it's all bollocks. And the westernised idea. I mean, look, you know, I suppose you can see it a certain way. Whereas what it will be is we got people from the Muslim Council of Britain and this, that, and the other that are saying, in actual fact, you know, we've lived here for years and years and years. We've assimilated and integrated. No, you haven't. But that's what they'll say. And they'll say, you know, Islam is peaceful. Islam here is great. Yeah, but it's great here if it's allowed to remain so. When you've got an influx of people from the East that need to prop up this idea of what the Eastern idea of Islam is, then you've got a major fucking problem. If you're allowing people to preach from different mosques and madrasas across the world to our country, then we've got a fucking problem. Because they're trying to reaffirm and reassert the Eastern idea of what Islam is. I would love Islam to coexist with absolutely everybody. It's never going to happen. Although in our countries where they've assimilated and integrated and lived here from the 50s and the 60s, it's been absolutely fantastic because they've been watered down to a point. They've been watered down. It's the westernised version of. We've got gay Muslims, we've got black Muslims, we've got lesbian Muslims, we've got all sorts of Muslims here, and these people don't like that. It's as simple as that. And I think that's probably why, some of the reason as to why that they want to attack, because we're actually watering down in certain countries where they should be taking over. We're watering what Islam means down. Anyway, listen, I've got to go because I've got to switch off. Daz is on at 7 o'clock. Great show if you can find it. If you want a link for it or someone stick it up. And just one more point. Dazza yesterday, off his own back, he didn't even talk to us or anybody else. He felt the need, he felt compelled to actually put a petition up. So, traffic going past here. To put a petition up to remove these people or to jail them. The 3,000 on the watch list, and that was sent out. It was put on the Britain First page. What did Britain First do? They deleted his post and have now done their own petition. When what they should have done in actual fact was backed up the petition that's already there, that's now hit 120,000 people. All right, that's what goes on. There's your fucking division, and now being put into the hands of a far right group, if we can use that sort of terminology. Then that's going to be taken no notice of whatsoever. It should have been left with the people. You know, to crack on with that petition. So a massive shout out to Dazza for that. Nicely done, my friend. But what's going to go on now? We're going to divide the people and put half the votes or most of the votes that we could have got on that one over onto theirs. Second him, really. You know, they should have just posted it out and said, look, someone's done this, fucking back it up. It's 110,000, 100 and something thousand signatures. Get that out on certain pages. It's all over my page, by the way. If anyone wants to grab that and share it, then fucking please do, because I think it's about time the government knew exactly how we're feeling. And there's been lots and lots of people, from Phil Campion over to the black guy earlier that I shared the video with, you know, over, that was saying if that was my children, you know, you'd have my fuck, I'll get my boots back on. You know, this needs to change, and I think it's only us that can change it. And it is through education. It is about what we do. Yes, obviously, I can tell people till I'm blue in the fucking face that this is what Islam is. Unless you pick up those books and read them for yourself, don't convert, for fuck's sake. You'll turn to the dark side. But you know, you've got to educate yourself. It's as simple as that. Anyway, I'm going to go. Be safe, be vigilant, and just make sure that you know where your children are at all times. You know, it's a dangerous world out there. The NHS has warned a load of hospitals now, be ready on the bank holiday there, because you need to brush up on your skills, because apparently they know something's coming. Why would they put the army on the streets otherwise? They know this is much bigger than they're letting on, and that is the fucking truth of the matter. None of us are safe. Government have failed in their first and only duty, as far as I'm concerned, to protect the people. All right? Love, light and peace, people. I'll speak to you very, very soon.